And we're back. We are going to be talking about Vitaly. Vitaly has finally received bail. This is because he's part of two judicial systems, in a sense. Okay, one that is for foreigners, and the other one that is obviously the local justice system, of course. But because he could not get a bail for the, I think the, if I'm correct, the foreigner judicial system, if I'm correct with that, um, they did not grant him bail for that. But the Philippines was actually going to transfer him to one of the worst prisons in Philippines. Okay, if I'm correct, he's in the Philippines, yeah? Okay, so they were going to transfer him to one of the worst prison in the Philippines. It's actually known throughout the world as the worst, one of the worst prisons in the entire world. Okay? But because the rights that he has as a criminal, okay, or as an offendant, he was granted bail, which they paid immediately. So he was not, because they paid bail, he doesn't actually have to go to this prison. And I'm sure Vitaly, I'm sure that they were probably like saving their money because like they were mentioned. That I'm sure they all mentioned, everybody that's on his side mentioned, there's a possibility that he might go to this prison, and I'm sure he saved up that money that he had, or tried to get the money that he had that he had for the bail from at least people that close to him, or just money that he had in his own account to pay for this bail so that he does not go to this prison, because this prison is actually like full of gangs, full of the real bad guys that you want to find in the Philippines. Um, so there's actually a new picture of him, and this is him right now. Apparently, this is the T-shirt that they wear. If I'm correct, it says after posting bail, Russian vlogger who harassed Filipinos now back in the BI facility, which is a much safer facility for him because he doesn't have to be with the local population, which is what I just spoke about earlier, which is where he would be with the worst of the worst. Okay. Um, I am not going to read too much. I'm just going to read at least one sentence. Viral Russian vlogger Vitaly, who was arrested after harassing security guard and passed by in that city, was returned Wednesday to the Bureau of Immigration holding facility after posting bail. So it's the Bureau of Immigration that denied giving him bail in terms of the Bureau of Immigration, but the local justice system, which is not the Bureau of Immigration, they granted him bail, which he paid immediately, and that is why he's going to continue to still be behind bars, but he's going to be part of the Bureau of Immigration, which, to be honest, it's the Bureau of Immigration. It's much safer than him being with the local population. And I do have someone else, another YouTuber from Legal Mindset, that actually has more to speak about this. He goes more in depth, and especially on what legalities Vitaly might have to face at this point on. So let's just watch and see what he says about this.
Vitaly was granted bail, but still is in jail in the Philippines. Of course, I'm Andrew Eskratz, the Legal Mindset, where we teach you to be your own judge. And I've been following the Vitaly case from front to back. And this is a very interesting turn in this case, insofar as Vitaly was seeking bail. He was seeking to get out and be released. Of course, bail is when you'll pay money in order to be released, and you're allowed to be out and about before your trial. However, Vitaly was successfully granted bail and still ended up in jail. How did that work? Well, let's explain the overall situation. And of course,
I'm sure Vitaly is super happy. Obviously, he's upset that he still has to be in jail, but it's much better where he is right now compared to where he would have been, because Vitaly is big. Like, even though he lost weight and he got a bit thinner, he still has muscle. And, like, everybody that he would have been with is a Filipino, so Filipinos are shorter than Russians and Americans, right? Or they're shorter than most people in the world. But I'm sure the sheer number of the people that would have been up against him, Vitaly wasn't going to take the risk to get in there.
course, we have the article here. You can see this from the Manila Bulletin, where despite posting bail on criminal charges, Russian vlogger Vitaly returns to the Bureau of Immigration for his deportation case. We could go through some of the facts in this article. Despite posting bail for the provisional liberty on his criminal charges before the Taguig City Regional Trial Court, Russian vlogger Vitaly Zorvetsky has returned to the detention facility of the Bureau of Immigrations because he faces a deportation case. Even if he files for bail in his local case, he will still be returned to the custody of the BI. He will not be allowed to roam around as he is seen as an undesirable alien. That is a determination made by the Immigration Board that he is an undesirable alien, and undesirable aliens are presumptively kept in captivity. They're kept behind bars and not released in the wild, released out there for everybody. And mind you, that's two different jurisdictions. And what happened the other day on June 11th was the Bureau of Immigration actually transferred Vitaly to the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, BJMP. So
that's the local one. The Bureau of Jail Management is the local one.
essentially, imagine that immigration transferred him to the local system. And under the local system, you do have a right, particularly because he is charged with unjust vexation. With those charges, he had a right to request bail, and he was granted bail, because he had those charges against him. However, because of his determination in the immigration court, which, by the way, as we covered on this channel, already denied him bail. The immigration court has already said, no, Vitaly, we're not going to give you bail. You are a flight risk. You are somebody we're not going to give bail. We don't want to give bail. Because of that fact, he's never going to be fully free. Now, this is very interesting. Why would Vitaly post bail? Well, of course, he doesn't want to be behind bars. Of course, he wants to be let free. But beyond that, he probably was a little bit intimidated of the local jails. Those are a tougher environment. There's a lot more locals. There might be people messing with them. He would have to behave himself.
You would most likely have to pay people to protect him.
With the local posses, the local gangs in that particular jail, he would have to kind of keep his head low, and that's something he probably was mindful of in that local jail. So now he's back in the BI, and mind you, the local jail he was transferred to was one of the world's toughest prisons. So if you've seen the World Toughest Prisons show, the one that he was transferred to under the BJMP was an extremely harsh prison. This was one that was one of the toughest in the world. So now,
for a guy like Vitaly to be so to be so fearful. I mean, he was messing with Filipinos the whole time. On the videos that they had, he's been messing with the Filipinos, messing with the cops, messing with the old ladies, saying, "I'm gonna do this to you. I'm just trying to give you like $100." And now all of a sudden he's like, he's so scared. Like that's medicine for you. You've been messing around in the country thinking like nothing is gonna happen. Now they want to transfer you to one of the worst prisons in the entire world, and now he's like, he just changed his leaf. It's like, nah, I'm not gonna go there. Smart the way they're playing it, the way he's like, to keep him with the Bureau of Immigration. But he wouldn't have been involved in this thing in the first place if he just was a normal tourist. But now he's a flight risk and everything.
Now he's back in the BI facilities. Now he's back transferred in that. So he's with other deportees. So that's where he will presumptively remain and presumptively stay until his trial date. So until that trial date comes up, he's going to be in the BI. He's going to be sitting there. He's not going to be let go. That's already been denied. So this is going to be the fate of Vitaly. Also, an interesting perspective is I've heard a lot of rumors of folks when they're talking about how much time he's going to get, etc. Right now, the maximum he faces is 18 months. And most people within the system and people that have been slipping...
That's good, actually.
About a year and a half is about accurate for Vitaly. But
I mean, if we remember correctly, everybody was saying like he's going to get like 20 years. But from 20 years to a year and 8 months, that's did I say 20 years? To basically a year and 8 months, just 18 months. That's okay, 18 months. Actually, a year and a half. So it's a year and 6 months. So that's 18 months altogether. 12 plus 6. I mean, for him, it shouldn't be that bad. He'll just pop back on YouTube after 18 months.
I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that's sufficient? And what do you think about the jail situation? Let me know in the comments below. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Like, I'm sure Vitaly doesn't want to end up in the local prison, and I'm sure he's most likely definitely learned his lesson. If you can all see from this pic over here. Then look at that face. That face is He's had it. He's had it. Nah, he learned his lesson. I mean, he's learned his lesson quite a few times. Like it's not the first time he's been in prison, but he's it's the first time I would say he's been in prison now in the Philippines. But if this case goes well for him and he doesn't get sentenced and he gets sent back to the states and he's a free man, like we'll see if he's going to continue with his antics. I mean, it's always time for a person to change the leaf. But man, this is for man. I keep on saying this every at the end of every video. For all you guys out there that wants to be a YouTuber, that doing pranks like Jack Doherty, like what is it? The Jack Doherty, that Doherty guy. Like that's another guy that's gonna get in a whole lot of crap if he decides to go overseas and start doing the same thing that that Vitaly's done. Let's see if your bodyguard is gonna protect you there. Like there's just a lot of crappy YouTubers out there that just they have like not the worst content, but you know the content that you don't want to see. But for Vitaly, I'm actually glad that it's not going to be so long for him. Um, at least he's in a safer section at the moment, the same section where he still is, but he's still being kept, but he's still safer. And who knows? Maybe we'll see him back on YouTube. And what is it still going to be the same content where they be catching the pedos, or is it going to be something a little different and not so pranky, and also, you know, not really disturbing people as much? But we're going to keep up with Vitaly and where things go.